us know if you hear from him, David.
Yeah, will do, Chief.
Okay, we'll bring our meeting to order. Let us gather our hearts and minds together as we look for the help of the Creator, as we review our agenda and make decisions that and hope that are in the best interest of the people that we represent, the Mohawks of the Bay of Quinte. Let us be cognizant that we need the Creator's help in all the work that we do in order to have a positive outcome. Let us be reminded of our tradition to always show respect to each other in our actions and in our conversations. Good morning, Josh. And so we will begin the meeting with Ohodo Gariwatego. Gunjokwa, Sedwancios, Go Nigariwesa, the Egari Ohodo Gariwatego, Ongadewa Noni, no Ho de Aguego, Oscar Adeliwe Noni, the Ogwat Nigora, Dano, the Atinawe Rados, the Ogwe Soha, Suk Aguego, Skono, Agohage. Oscar Aguego, Unska Adeliwe Noni, ne Ogwat Nigora, Dano, the Atinawe Rados, ne Yadeni Stoha, G Yowanjari, G Sego, Diako Gahuon Hadjes. Ago Satstonsera, na e Yoni Yohage. Aguego Unska Adeliwe Noni, ne Ogwat Nigora. Dano, de Atinawe Rados, ne Aguego Yong Hiyonwase, G Owanjadi. Aguego Unska Adeliwe Noni, ne Ogwat Nigora. Dano, de Atinawe Rados, ne Aguego Yonwase, G Garonhyadi. Dano, Ono, Gadi, Aguego, de Siwe Nowe Rado, ne Songoyat Dizon, Nene Gasat Stonsra, ne Owezon Soyera, Eto Neo Dunhak ne Ogwat Nigora. And it translates in English to, my people, listen for a short time. The business has come to pass. Everyone, we will bring our minds together as one and send our greetings to the people so that peace will continue for all. Everyone, we will bring our minds together as one and send our greetings to our Mother, the Earth, as she still goes along, giving her own strength for us to live good lives. Everyone, we will bring our minds together as one and send our greetings to all the things that support us on the earth. Everyone, we will bring our minds together as one and send our greetings to all the things that support us in the sky and the heavens. And now we send our greetings to Sungoyat Dizo, the Creator, the great strength of the natural world. Let this always continue in our minds. And the Christian prayer, which is the Lord's Prayer, Sungwat Niha, Nigarohyagi, Deshidaro, Wogosanada Gondi, Sayanetsara Dawat, Jinutsare et Yawan in the Hohonjagi, Jonanito Nigarohyagi, Dagyo Nisaradi, Yatati Usaragi, Ongwanada Runkni on a Donigariosto, Ne Junquari Wanero, Jetagari Stonish, Ne Rauri Waner Axero, Ego Ase Sawak, Gayanatsuna Gasat Stonsra, always onsra, Jinyahoe, Awa. In English, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Josh. Good morning. So we have an agenda before you, and we'll review. Please review the agenda, and if it's acceptable, please have a motion to adopt the agenda. Okay. So the first item is to review and adopt the agenda for the May 3rd, 2023 Council regular meeting. We have the minutes of April the 19th, 2023. Any business arising from the minutes will be discussed after that. chiefs and councils' upcoming meetings outside the territory. And there's a list of meetings requiring a motion in your package. May the 26th, 23rd, Councillor Chris Miracle is requesting to attend the OPP recruit graduation ceremony. There is now item number 2 is the nomination for AI Deputy Grand Chief, and there's also nominations for Grand Chief. Iroquois Caucus is the General Assembly on May the 30th and 31st, 2023, and that will be in Wata. The request for the right-of-way access for Bruce Miracle, this is the laneway that goes to the water treatment plant. Pathways to safe Indigenous communities. The Emergency Home Repair Incentive Program. CMHC renovation funding. Upcoming meetings that have been identified for May are May 17th is the local council business meeting. May the 24th is the regular council meeting. May 31st is the local council business meeting. Tyendinaga Mohawk regular meetings on June the 5th. Local council business meeting June the 16th. The Tyendinaga Mohawk Council regular meeting June 22nd. And the Mohawk Council local business meeting June the 28th. Then we have a private agenda. So Doug Stevenson will be coming from the Bay of Quinte Marketing Board to give the annual update. Then there's other items on the private agenda. Do I have a motion to accept the agendas? Chris?
Yes, sir.
Is there a seconder?
I can second.
Stacia? Is anyone opposed? Anyone opposed? Anyone opposed? Seeing none, the motion is carried. Is there any business arising from the minutes?
I think we need to review and accept the minutes prior to business arising.
Yes. Are there any errors or corrections for the April 19th minutes? Any corrections from the April 19th minutes?
Chief, just on item 16, talks about lacrosse box. I had requested that we have options. This one's looking at, I believe, looks at fixing the lacrosse box as per the Trillium, but I'd like to see option B, which is to enclose the lacrosse box with washrooms, change rooms.
Okay. Councillor Chris Miracle.
But council's okay with me seeking a opinion from?
That was approved last
Okay.
meeting. My recollection.
Can that be noted then, Chief, that
Yeah,
council
it'll be a
authorizes that?
correction to the minutes.
Okay. Thank you.
And just make sure that Tom is in the loop on that too, Chris?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so are there any other corrections to the minutes? Any other corrections to the minutes? Seeing none, can I have a motion to accept the minutes as corrected?
I can move.
Stacia? Is there a seconder for that motion? Is there a seconder for the motion?
I'll second.
Ted? Anyone opposed? Anyone opposed? Anyone opposed? Seeing none, the motion is carried. Is there any business arising from the minutes? So Chris, you'll be getting quotes on motion 16. Have you already started it?
No, Tom had been away. And
Okay.
I'll ask a couple contractors.
Okay. Is there anything to report on the trail cameras that we requested around the territory concerning illegal dumping? If not, David, could you just maybe follow up on that and bring a report back to the next council?
Yeah, for sure, Chief. I wasn't there for your last meeting or discussion, so this is all new to me. I just came back to work yesterday, so
Okay,
I'll follow up with staff.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so let the record show that there was, other than that, there was no business arising. Did you have something, Stacia?
No, nothing specific. I think there are a number of items from that meeting a couple of weeks ago that that actually does require some follow-up. I think it's going to take time for some of those items, considering that David
Go ahead.
David is now back. So if we want to note them though for the record, if that's helpful, we can do that. One of the pieces here is motion number 6. This is to obtain a cost estimate for a legal opinion regarding the enforcement. So it wasn't only the trail cameras or getting a quote for that, it was also to a cost estimate on how to enforce MBQ bylaws without enforcement mechanisms. So David, this might be helpful for you as we go through this. Motion number 8 was to review the business registration policy regarding insurance coverage. So that will be an item that will require follow-up as well. And we noted the one for the quotes that Chris is going to obtain. And I think that might be it.
Okay, so David, just review the minutes and bring a follow-up on the items that have been in the motions of council.
Yeah, will do, Chief. And Stacia, I appreciate you just bringing those points forward and clarifying for me to look into them a little bit further. Thanks so much.
Okay. So there's action just to follow up on the issues identified in the minutes. Bring a report to the next council. Thank you very much. Meetings outside of the territory. Is the ribbon cutting still going to proceed on the 7th of May for the recreation park? Does anyone know? I've got 11 o'clock on the May the 7th, but it's kind of a poor time because a lot of people go to church at that time. So if it were earlier, it would be better, or maybe at 1 o'clock. So we'll need motions to attend the AI Chiefs Council meeting. Is it Hiawatha or Wata?
For the Chiefs Council meeting next week, it's Hiawatha.
Hiawatha, but
I think you already have a motion, Chief, to attend.
okay, did I get a motion, Shelley?
Yeah, I think it was in the last minutes.
For Hiawatha?
We just approved.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that includes the Chiefs Council meeting and also includes Iroquois Caucus and Six Nations.
So the dedication ceremony for the burial sites at the military base in Kingston is the final meeting in preparation for that is on the May the 12th at 10 o'clock.
In Kingston?
Yes, in Kingston. We have a leadership council on May the 10th. There's going to be an emergency chiefs meeting on May the 10th.
That's virtual.
It's virtual, so we'll
yeah.
be joining that from Hiawatha. Then on the 21st is the Mohawk landing at the landing site at 10 o'clock in the morning, followed by a service at Christ Church. On May the 24th, I would have to ask if this meeting could be scheduled. I have to take my brother to a medical appointment in Toronto. So could we have that meeting on the 23rd instead?
So Chief, right now we're on our upcoming meetings outside of the territory, so I don't know if you wanted to
Okay.
wait until we come to our upcoming TMC meetings. It's
Yeah.
it's up to everyone.
Then Iroquois Caucus meeting is going to be at Six Nations on the 30th and 31st. And on the 1st there will be an open LP meeting in Toronto. They still have to approve the audit yet in order to continue with the funding because we have never had quorum be able to pass the audit, and that's long overdue. So the next regular council meeting is the 5th of June. The Royal Flying Corps, the Royal Air Force Remembrance Ceremony will be at Deserano at the Cenotaph in the cemetery at 11 o'clock on the 10th of June. I've been invited to attend, which I'll attend. On June the 12th is the Leadership Council meeting in Thunder Bay. Then there's followed by the Chiefs of Ontario Annual General Assembly on the 13th, 14th, and 15th. I have been invited to be a guest speaker at a commemorative event concerning a UEL function on the 18th. The 22nd is the regular council meeting. There's a heritage lecture hour at the Memorial Hall in Kingston, which I will be speaking at on the 22nd. That's it. Does the those are, Chris, you want to attend the graduation exercise at Aurelia?
Yes.
So that will be it for Chris. Does council have any other meetings outside the territory that require a motion of council? Josh? Ted? Stacia?
No, not listed. I
Okay,
think
can we
there's-
have a motion then to approve those dates?
It would be a motion for Chris to attend the OPP recruit graduation on May 26, 2023.
Is
And I
there-
can move.
Is there a seconder? Ted? And we don't require a motion for Belleville to Kingston, right?
No.
Okay, that's good.
I think you're okay with the ones you had listed there.
The nominations for Deputy Grand Chief, Stacia has sent an email to council saying she's willing to continue serving in that role. There has to be a resolution of council to nominate someone. So is there a motion to nominate Stacia to Deputy Grand Chief? Moved by Ted and seconded by
Thanks,
Josh.
Stacia.
Anyone opposed? Anyone opposed? Anyone opposed? Motion is carried.
I'll declare my conflict. Now,
Is anyone interested in running for the Grand Chief position? None? Okay. What is that? Oh, God, no. No, God, no. Definitely not. Definitely not.
I think you would make an excellent Grand Chief.
Well, a little bit too, maybe years ago that would have been fine, but I'm getting a little bit too old for that now. No, I think Joel is doing a good job, and I hope that he gets reelected. He goes where he's supposed to be, and he's prepared. He's well prepared and well versed, and he knows his stuff. And he doesn't mislead you. He doesn't know. He's honest. He just says he'll have to look into it. So he's. I think he's a good Grand Chief.
So,
The Iroquois General Assembly is on May 30th and 31st in Wata.
Six
Is-
Nations, I believe.
Oh,
The
the
Iroquois
pardon me, this
caucus,
is the
yeah.
Iroquois caucus. This is Six Nations. Is everyone going to attend? Okay, I'll be attending.
I might be able to attend. I just need to confirm.
All right.
So,
Let's leave it this way. If you're going to attend, let Shelley know, because it's very important that we make arrangements ahead of time. Otherwise, we can have to pay premiums for rooms at the last minute.
Mhm.
So don't leave it at the last, or you may not get a room.
No, we'll have to have a motion. So if we have a break at some point, I'll look at my calendar to confirm.
Okay, check your calendars, and when we'll make a motion. We'll defer that one. Do you check your calendars?
Was anybody else able to go? May 30th or 31st? Chris, are you able to go the 30th or 31st? Yeah, okay, yeah, I'm gonna check my calendar too. Okay. All right, so right now it's you, chief.
Okay, I'll be going then.
Yeah.
But let's have a tentative motion of you, and then you can let Shelley know if you're not going to attend.
That works too.
She'll book a rooms, but make sure you let her know if you're not attending, so we don't have to pay the room for a non-occupied bill for a non-occupied room. Okay, can we have a motion then that council will be tentatively approved to a schedule? I've confirmed, and Josh will confirm, or you're good. So then before the week's end, then make sure you let Shelley know if you're going to attend, then she'll book a room for you.
Sounds good.
Let's have a motion to do it that way.
Okay,
Sure.
Moved by Ted,
Um,
we'll second it.
maybe perhaps Chris should, I think, I don't know. if
Is there a
you're
seconder
able
for
to-
that motion to have Shelley block a book of rooms? And then you, by week's end, you need to confirm whether you're attending.
Yeah. I think so,
Administrative,
too.
then we don't have to keep calling and sending emails. Is there a seconder for that motion?
I think Chris seconded.
Chris, did you say, okay, seconded by Chris, motion's carried. So if you don't confirm, there'll be no room.
Have to camp, have to camp out.
Do we know if the AIAI meeting's gonna be in person and Zoom? Or just in person only?
I believe it's hybrid.
It is, we're not sure yet.
There was a
but-
test,
okay.
yeah, there was a test that,
And that's in June, right?
correct.
Yeah, so I guess we have next.
It'll be the week of
next meeting,
June
whatever we can.
5th. So we have regular on June 5th, and then that'll be the travel
The
day,
6th, 7th.
the
yeah.
6th, 7th, I think. It's not too far. Wata, it's not, yeah. Too far of a drive.
Request right-of-way access. So Bruce Miracle, that sold us the land for the water tower, he has some land that's around at the back there and needs access. But we may at some point in time have to, Todd and I have discussed it, we may have to put a gate to limit access up to the water tower itself. And so this would create an access for him to get to his property, just letting him use the road that's there for egress and ingress. The title remains with the band. We're just letting him use it to get to his property because he farms.
There is a gate at the tower.
Pardon me?
There is a gate.
Is there already a
at the
gate
tower.
there?
There's a fence.
Okay, because I asked him to put a gate.
That was a long time ago, I think.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's there. Just ride my bike up there.
I know the last time when I went up
It's
there,
not by the road, it's up by the town.
the last time when I went up there, I went right up there, and so I asked it, at that time, I asked them to put a gate there. Maybe they've done it then.
I can confirm, but yeah, I'm sure there's 99.9.
I believe it is now. I don't think it is it?
It's not gated at the road.
It's not gated at the road, but I would think so, because it's a, but this is just really allowing Bruce to go in there to, get to have egress and ingress from his property. There really is no other reason for the public to be up there. Because we don't want people getting up there climbing on the,
No.
so is council prepared to grant Bruce Miracle a right of way for egress and ingress, to his property?
I'll move, Chief.
Moved by Chris. Is there a second for that?
I can second.
I probably should declare a conflict to his family and neighbor too, so, you know.
If you feel that way. No. It's,
Yeah.
it's perception, right? So it's either if it's
Yeah.
real or perceived.
I don't have any issues, but I should declare that conflict.
Are you in favor, Josh? The title though remains with the band.
And it states that right in the agreement as well. Very simple of it.
Pathways to Safe Indigenous Communities. Application to support Services Canada Pathway to Safe Indigenous Communities requires support and approval by the council. The request is to approve the submission, including MBQ's equity contribution of $471,741. And so the maximum grant under this Pathways to Safe Indigenous Communities is $1 million. So they're applying for $1 million, and this is to repair the ferry dock boat launch, which is in a state of disrepair, and it's not ready to be used right now. So the Shannonville boat launch is available. I've asked them to put up a sign up there to let them know that that boat launch is available. Scott Miracle, the fire chief, sent a report dated, no date on it, we'll date it today, May 3rd, 2023. It's as per our conversation regarding the ferry boat ramp. I have this to offer. The ramp is now exists in only a hazard. The ramp as it is now exists only a hazard and is its current condition, but the only ramp with the direct access to the Bay of Quinte. As a department, we answer calls for help on the bay since we have approximately 14 kilometers of shoreline with a lot of recreational boats on the water. In 2022, we were out 7 times, and the state of the ramp makes it very difficult for us to launch and reload the boat. Since this is the only ramp that exists in our community, it is imperative that we address the state of the ramp and correct the issues with it for the safety of not only the boaters and recreationals, but the firefighters who have to launch and reload the boat in a timely manner. If you have any questions, please contact me at any time. So the one source of funding would be this safe Pathways to Safe Indigenous Communities for $1 million. There may be some other programs that we can look into. and I'll have a chat with Mike Wilburn about that.
Chief?
Chris?
So some time ago, we talked about a working group being developed to look at this whole area. And I've spoke to some contractors, boaters in the community. So I'm requesting that council approve of a working group being created. So I've talked to KC, Bildal.
Well, the request though right now
I
was
know,
to
but
apply
Chief-
for the funding.
Yeah, so I'm asking that this be deferred. And what I'm
Okay.
asking is that council approve of a working group be created. KC, Bildal, myself, Ken Claus, Tommy.
Okay. We
these-
had this discussion for almost a year ago.
I know, well, has anybody been down to Ferry Lane Boat Launch? I was there yesterday and it looks fine to me. It's just not in the water. We repaired it last year. We had,
Is there a deadline though?
no, it says no deadline. So what I'm requesting is that council approve of a working group being
Okay.
created. And then I would request that we get a half a dozen copies of all these documents so that I can give all these folks these hard copies and then have a site meeting next week. I think a lot of flack, Chief, about so much money
Okay.
being spent on consultants. We're really almost into probably the hundreds of thousands on this, and people are
Okay.
saying the hundreds of thousands could have been spent on capital improvements, not on the consultants.
Yeah.
So,
It says the existing walkway pier needed to be removed and redesigned to accommodate a new ramp in addition to a new boat floating dock and new anchors. This was discussed and approved by council on May the 5th, 2021. That's what's in the briefing note. It says, has all of council read this briefing note?
Well, I have read the briefing note. I can't speak for everyone.
So the May 5th, 2021 bullet
all
point says that work was already approved more than 2 years ago.
yeah, we had some final reports, and then we were told that needs,
Some of the work. So what we want to make sure though, Chris, is we don't have a deadline for these applications.
yeah, it says no deadline, Chief. And again, I'd like to have
Okay,
experienced professionals from the community as opposed to the consultants at this point.
so you're
We might
making a
need
motion
them.
then to create a committee.
Yes. And if you had any names you'd like, have expertise,
The only,
Similar to put calls up for comment. We had the comment period online first. Folks, some of those named, and Chris Frank, folks that have used them in years past. Just to clarify, and I'm supportive of putting in a call for interested parties to discuss. When you say expertise, what type of expertise do you?
construction. Like Tommy's a contractor, so he knows about structural issues. Casey, he knows about structural issues. Ken Claus, he's just a hardcore boater. So they know what they need when it comes to docks. They've been all over the place. I don't know if we need engineers at this point.
We do have reports from engineers saying things we replace.
Right.
We need a professional opinion at that to counter the recommendation, I mean, from a liability standpoint.
Yeah.
If a professional in that sense is saying, everything we looked at didn't need replaced. But if we're gonna adopt other folks, and they say, well, we're not gonna fix it, we're just gonna fix it this way. In order for us to have known this was the recommendation, I think we gotta have some trump. That's why I'm asking what type of expertise we look at.
Yeah. So right now, the expertise would be in the community and free. At some point, we're probably going to have an engineer on board. But at this point, as I said, they're like, so much money being spent on consultants, reports.
Well,
So I want them to give them all this information so they can digest it.
I wonder if we can share the engineer's report.
Yeah, all these
I'm-
items.
yeah.
Wondering if we could. That might be good for discussion.
$20,000 for, I think a lot of people, that's $20,000 for some words on the paper, worth of value in that. And I feel that consultants, and I'm not defending all consultants, but there's a cost associated with getting professional, I guess, opinions on things. I think sometimes we can be vilified because it's not that capital, it's not, we could, rather than pay somebody to design it, we could have built it. Well, build what? We gotta have design. right, so I understand the upset and saying, why would we waste $50,000 to design something when we're gonna build something? Well, because we gotta build it to design, so.
And we need the design to apply
Yeah.
for funding.
Yeah,
as
so
well.
I'm doing having calls for folks to discuss them. Another one, what else?
We did.
Things before for comment, and I think a lot of those sentiments were expressed and saying it shouldn't cost $1 million, it shouldn't cost $5,000, it shouldn't cost that. But I've yet to see something that would suggest that it
Okay,
could cost less.
well, I would recommend to council apply for the funding. If you don't want to spend it all, there's a different design that gets approved by council or by the engineers. If it's modified somehow, then you could do it that way. But I would actually apply for the funding to get the ball rolling. Because one thing you can bet your bottom dollar, this is going to be seriously oversubscribed.
Yeah.
Especially if there's $1 million is the maximum application. I don't know how much is in this fund. And usually
Yeah.
for the first proposals that get there, usually they're not going to wait for the Mohawks to be, couldn't
No,
make
but
up their mind what they're
I
going
would
to
say,
do.
in applying for this fund, I don't think one of the other places talk about it with folks or apply. I think, like you said, we can apply for it. And then if I think discussion, there's an opportunity that is either cost effective or less. Maybe we could use that fund for that. So I think they're both.
Well, the ferry dock has been there probably close to 100 years, if not longer. And I'm sure there weren't engineers that they brought logs and filled up the crib with whatever was available locally. And then they made a ramp there and a dock there, so the ferry boat could dock. It's lasted all these years. But I'm sure that it's, I don't know what it was constructed of, the dock itself, but it seems to have stood the test of time. But I guess the logs will rot that are in the water, and the ones especially that are not, that are exposed to the elements would rot a lot quicker, so I don't know how stable all that is.
Yeah, Chief, I just don't want a repeat of the church ramp. You know, at the end of the day, we spent $35,000 or something like that for an engineer to
You're talking about
reinvent the
All Saints
wheel.
Church ramp.
Oh, yeah, over here. And at the end of the day, it was simply a cut and paste job. We
Okay.
didn't have to spend 35,000.
Anyway,
We already had a
that's
design,
not
and
like-
and you spent $3,000 for the design for the
Okay.
other church. So how come one design's 3,000? They want the identical ramp over there, and that one's
But
35,000.
we had a committee for the Christchurch one.
I know, Chief, and you only spent $3,000
Yeah.
for the design. So you already had a design.
Well, let's not digress. Let's stay focused on the ferry dock. So anyway, so Chris's request is to form a committee, is to defer this and form a committee to review it. And I guess the second motion would be to submit this funding application anyway, so we can get the ball rolling.
I'd approve both. I
Okay.
mean, we have enough information to support applying
You
the
have to-
application.
that-
Yeah,
All right.
I support both.
I don't even bring this, I do striking a meeting or a committee to have,
Sure.
For sure.
but I'm in favor of applying.
I am as well.
So Chris, would you make a motion then? Would you make that, to modify your motion to accommodate the request to form the,
Sure.
submit the
Absolutely.
application and form the
Yeah,
committee to
yeah,
review,
Yeah,
okay?
with the understanding that the input from this committee could change the scope
Oh,
somewhat,
absolutely.
Sure.
that we're not
Yeah.
locked into this.
Yeah,
Yep.
Okay,
absolutely.
sure.
So
I'm with that,
I
Chief.
think that would give us more substance.
But keep in mind, the request from the council is to, if there's a different way of doing it, because an engineer has said it's structurally not sound, we need another engineer's report to say, with whatever the plan about going forward would be, and the cost,
That's
because we're not engineers. And then if there's something happened, and we ignored the engineer's advice, then there's a lot of liability would go with that. So is there a second for Chris's motion to apply for the funding and strike this ferry dock committee? Josh, anyone opposed? Seeing none, the motion's carried. So Chris, get your committee together. I don't think we need to be, just let us know who's willing to serve on it, and bring the list to council, and we'll just approve the names that they comprise the ferry dock committee. Because if there's going to be work getting done this year, we need to get on with it. It's already the 3rd of May.
I think we have a process for striking committees, so I think there might be some guidance around that. Or do we have one?
I would say,
We usually advertise, we have to draw up terms of reference, we have to post it.
An ad hoc.
It's an ad hoc committee.
I would say either Rebecca Parks can create some type of flyer.
If you're interested, and if you're interested in serving on this ad hoc committee, please put your name forward.
Sounds good.
Okay? And if you know people that want to serve on it, let them know there's going to be an ad hoc committee, Chris, that your conversations. Okay, that motion is carried. Emergency home repair. So you have a policy before you. And this would provide, I believe it's up to $5,000 in grants based on, there's income criteria that would have to be met to be eligible for this assistance. And again, because a lot of the community have marginalized incomes, I would think you'll have a lot of applications. And our housing programs work well for those who have higher incomes and can afford the mortgages and meet the bank lending criteria. But the incomes that are low they can't borrow enough money to conduct the repairs on their homes, and so they're caught in a situation of a lack of affordability to get a loan. And when Tom and I asked him to review the income profiles of our people who are applying for housing, a significant number, 50% had incomes of less than $29,000, and about 25% had incomes of less than $19,000 a year. So that's very low income in today's standards. And particularly if they're working off the reserve, they're paying taxes on those wages. And if they have a family and the cost of living is going up, so there really is some help needed.
Mhm. So Chief, yeah, we discussed this in March, and I think we had just suggested that some changes be made just to look at the income verification process, the inspection piece, selection. Those items have been included in the updated draft policy. So I do see those items are there. So I can move this policy, this updated policy. Still a draft policy for the Emergency Home Repair Incentive Program.
Is there a seconder for that motion?
Chief, can I get clarity? Can folks still access the emergency repair program through CMHC?
Trim actually called. I sent an email over to him to see if the one outstanding RAP application has been resolved according because the person deceased before the work was finished. And so Tom sent Trim an email, and so I followed up with Trim by email, and he's called back today while we were in session. So I'll call him back when the council breaks to see what the verdict is.
Oh,
And as far as I know, there's just the one outstanding RAP issue to resolve, and then that should clear up the issue so we can apply for the RAP.
Sorry, Chief, there's a motion on the floor right now.
Okay.
yeah.
So I don't know if we can deal with the motion and
yeah,
then
okay, yeah,
we can have a
exactly.
discussion about the other piece. I just don't know if there was a
Is
question
there a
around
seconder for,
I'm
I
not
guess he
sure.
wa-
like a conflict
I
between
guess he,
programs? Is that?
Yeah, I'm not
he
sure.
wanted to know whether or not, if we approve this policy, can they still apply for RAP in addition to this? That's how I understand your question.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm not
I
sure
believe
how
they
that
can,
works.
because this is strictly a ban program. CMHC doesn't control, it's not one or the other, in my understanding.
Okay.
But the housing department vets the RAP application, so that there should be no room for any double dipping.
I think David might have been trying to speak.
Yeah.
David?
I just want to say the intention is to augment the series of tools that are already available. The allocation from RAP is not very good and has been not good for years. So this is the Mohawk Bay Quinte administration's attempt to provide another avenue for folks to be able to get the work done that they need to get done, because there is a shortage of available dollars. Just to be clear with everybody, that's why this exists. It's not going to impact someone's ability to apply to these other programs, because it is a program run by us, similar to our other incentive programs.
And what was the maximum income criteria, just to refresh my memory? David, do you know?
Chief, I'd have to refer to the document again. I haven't looked at it because I just returned to work yesterday, so I'm looking at it live with you guys right now, but we can certainly get an answer to that.
For singles, it's 34,632. For couple, 51,948. Applicants with household income levels over the thresholds for low income but are under 69,264 will be considered as moderate income households and will be eligible for the promissory note portion only.
So does that answer your question, Chris? They can apply for both if they meet the income criteria.
Yes.
And they're,
If they apply to this to fix their furnace, can they still apply to RAP and get a grant?
I saw, maybe it might be another item there, but I saw something saying that CMHC's given us $400,000 or $500,000.
That's
And then we're
coming
going
up.
to supplement that. And I wasn't sure if that $400,000 or $500,000 would fill the void.
it's
where
well, we
lost
better
the
check
RAP.
with Tom because he has the conversations with CMHC. I don't. So let's ask him.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I'll second that motion, because it seemed like two different issues.
Just hold on. Let's
This is
ask.
strictly for
If
emergencies.
you need that information
Yeah.
to know what you're voting on,
And it's the policy. It's
Yeah.
the policy, yeah, to actually start the program to fill the gap right now with the challenges that folks are having with applying for RAP.
Such as a RAP funding,
Tom, the council
exactly.
has a question. Go ahead. Finish your conversation, Josh.
no, we were just, asking whether or not you could apply for one and or the other.
Okay.
Can I just come in?
Yeah, come to council, please. He'll come in and answer your question, Chris.
I think I'm getting confused with number 7, Chief.
I was just going to say there's another item after. I'm wondering if that's for the CMHC renovation fund.
No, we don't have the right to barter away eligibility for federal programs, so I don't think it's that way, Chris.
I'm sorry?
Chris, the question was with the
Hey, Tom.
the repair program subsidy. They still can apply for RAP in addition to that.
Correct, it's intended to be staggered also with RAP or with Governor's Support Fund or any other type of fund.
So when will we be eligible for RAP, Chief?
Well, right now, CMHC just received their budgets. There's $8.4 million for Canada-wide. I sent this information by email to the council. Tom was able to get the budgets from TRIM for nationally, and for Ontario, it's the same as last year, $1,690,000. And if we could get the Leadership Council to get moving on the commitment from Doug Ford, I've suggested that they, for this year, augment the RAP program dollars to make more money available for Ontario. And 60% of that $1.6 million, $1,690,000, according to TRIM, goes to the northern communities and 40% to the southern communities. It's 50-50 now? Was it 60-40 before?
Those last budgets that we had.
Isn't it amazing when you ask them, why is it that way? All of a sudden the formula can change on the drop of a dime.
So if you look at the allocation that's available for First Nations in Ontario, it's like a drop. So we're
Okay.
administrating the program now, it's not as effective as it was once upon a time where the First Nation was actually wrapping. Now that's handled by CMHC.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. So now we're not the RAP agent anymore. That's all handled through that.
Okay.
That's what TRIM is essentially.
Then there was an issue was So the additional money we're getting from CMH or that we're applying to get from CMHC doesn't affect any of the eligibility for the RAP program. That was what the question was. Is
Correct,
that
it's separate. So that's funding that is basically coming from the National Co-Investment Fund. There's two streams to that. There's the construction, the new construction, which is where we're tying in for the long-term care for 1 North Front Street, and then there's a renovation, or sorry, 1 North Front Street would also be on the renovation side with where this money's coming
And
from.
shortly after council went into session, Trim did call back. I sent him an email to follow
Okay.
up to see if that outstanding RAP information you sent in, does that conclude that file and is it acceptable? Has Trim got back to you yet on that?
I haven't received a response. And
Okay,
they,
he did
they
call
haven't
just a
even
few minutes
announced,
ago.
even if we are eligible under this year's allocation, generally that does, in the past, hasn't been expressed to us till around July, August.
Okay,
It's usually late in the year for some reason. They don't even get, I don't even think Trim gets his budget till around June historically. Which is another reason why RAP is tough to go through the approvals. And then you get in the cycle of the application or the inspection or their quotes get outdated and then CMHC wants you to redo it. Either the contractors get frustrated from constantly quoting the same work, or the client gets frustrated from having to do the application process and having people come through their house all over again. We had one client 2 or 3 years ago. We had the approval conditional upon all we had to do left was to get the updated quotes, and it was the full 60,000, and she declined because she didn't want to go through the process again. She had grown frustrated and lost faith in the approach that was being taken, and basically said that we're not going to help her. So why go through it? So then
So
we had
still-
so we went to the next person on the list.
So still 1660? Still 1660 for, I don't know, handicap, is that the proper word to use anymore? Like their disability?
It's
Is that
60,000 60,000 for all the wraps. So wrap D.
So a person could be eligible up to 120 then?
there's
Yes.
disabled RAP.
Okay.
Yes, you
Yeah,
can
I
get
didn't-
wrap
that
and the
hasn't
wrap
changed,
D at the same time.
The criteria
It's
has
difficult
changed.
to get both of them, and there's a lot of extra paperwork to jump through, but
Yeah.
it's
With medical advice, you can usually get it. With
Yep.
a medical report.
Yep, and we have the one that's holding us up right now was a double.
Okay. Does that answer your question, Chris?
Yeah, so we've approved number 6, correct?
I'm not sure.
It's Stacia has moved to adopt to approve the adoption of the emergency home repair incentive program.
And I
Is there a
second it.
seconder?
Yep.
Chris?
Yep.
Consensus.
Okay, motion's carried.
And then I don't know, for clarity, that next package,
Yeah.
they do, so that had to happen first. So both of these packages have came to you before. The policy, we've got the comments, now that was the final, so that's approved. I think it was in early March, the CMHC renovation funding came to you guys, it was approved. For the rollout, though, rather than creating a new policy surrounded by that, what we're proposing is to combine and use the policy for the emergency home repair. So what that will do is for that, I think we have 630,000 and CMHC was 420,000. That money we have 3 years to use up. There's certain criterias for it, like so much percentage has to be used for accessible, so much percentage has to be used for greenhouse gas emissions, and there was another percentage that I can't recall that's in the package. But so what I'm proposing is that we use that money and we don't do the incentive until that money's gone. So the promissory note portion. So the repayable part will be paused until that program is done.
And that still is subject to the same review,
All the
application
same-
review, the
yep.
same criteria. You have to
Yep.
meet good credit.
And rather, so otherwise we
Demonstrate
would have to create-
affordability and all that.
Exactly. Otherwise, we'd be creating essentially the same policy, and then that policy would be essentially dead after that money's used up.
So the other thing, oftentimes Samantha Miracle with Ontario Works clients, she has a small budget called called
TSF.
the Transitional Support Funding. It's just around $25,000 a year in that fund, and that doesn't go far. So this will help deal with some of what she has to do.
Absolutely, and that was, Sam had a chance to review the documents
Okay.
early on, and that's where we got the, our affordability
And the source
calculation
of
from,
funding,
is we're using the same affordability calculation they do so that they can go together, and whether or not we can get either leverage more money through Sam so that they don't have to take the promissory note, or it just makes
Okay.
it so that it's a bigger budget. It's all used to work
Okay.
together and be stacked.
so now we need to know which is funder of first priority? Is it the transitional support funding, or is it this fund?
They're
Because,
separate, but they can go together.
okay, which one do they have to get approval from first, though?
Unless Sam's got a requirement for it, I don't.
So do they come to you when she's out of money, or do they come to you first and then she tops
As
up?
long as they're eligible for this project,
Okay.
they can go
And
to
there's
whoever.
there's 100,000 going in there to start it?
No, so what I'm proposing is that we use the CMHC co-investment fund and our portion that we have to put into that funding, so that.
That's the
I think it was $1
$400,000?
$1,050,000.
That's the 400,000.
That's gonna do either the next 3 years or until that money's gone. And then once that has been exhausted, it'll start being 100,000 from
Okay.
the housing.
But
trust
that doesn't, but they can apply for that as well as the RAP program,
fund, as well as what?
the RAP programs.
Absolutely.
Okay,
RAP, ERP, HASI.
okay. Chris?
A couple quick questions. So under number 7, could folks who need a ramp get a ramp under number 7, Tom?
Correct. So right now, it was existing when I came into housing. There was an existing allocation every year to cover ramps for seniors with accessibility issues or others with accessibility issues with a medical note.
Okay.
So we budget about 12,000 each year. Costs of ramps are definitely going up, and we're not being able to do as many. So, but there's no existing policy, there's no existing process that's for that. It's just been a historical practice where we budget this amount of money. There's no selection. So this will now provide for that as well.
Okay. And then my last question is, there's talk here about the promissory notes. We have reinstated promissory notes though, so that if things go sideways, we have recourse.
For this?
Somebody, yes, so somebody,
For this is the first 5,000 is an incentive, and then the next 15,000 will be a promissory note.
I just want to make sure we have safeguards in place so that if something goes sideways, we still have that promissory note that we
The
used to
whole
have.
this program, the whole way it's structured is a $5,000 incentive and a $15,000 promissory note. So do you want me to do a promissory note on the promissory note?
No, well, you know how that rat file went sideways because we didn't have promissory notes in
That-
place?
A promissory note wouldn't have helped that rep issue.
Well, I thought some months ago that it was agreed we reinstate the need for promissory notes.
What we need
so
to do
that-
is get a RAP policy. So we're working on a RAP policy that will actually put it in black and white that we are instituting promissory notes for that portion. All that's given us is a mechanism to be able to go back after them on the money. That's not going to make sure that the project gets done and we end up suspended from
No,
the
we have
CMHC.
recourse so if the money went,
That we have that to be able to go after them. Yep. So
So-
that will be part of the RAP process once
Okay,
we,
'cause
right
the-
now, it's not because the RAP policy is from like 1988.
yeah.
I
So in
think
the
it's
old
only-
policy, they had requirement to sign a
No.
promissory note.
No.
Well, it used to be a practice that we had a promissory note so that things wouldn't go sideways.
But my point is it could still go sideways.
But at least you have recourse, so you can put a claim against the estate.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We can still do that though.
With what? The promissory note.
If
is
there's
an
money
agreement.
owed to the band, we can put a claim against the estate when and that's what I brought this up at many council meetings. This is what administration should be doing. As
Well,
a
at
matter
one
of
time we
conducting
did it, Chief.
business.
I'm just saying you still can put that claim in, Chris. But am I pro promissory note part of the RAP process? Absolutely.
Okay.
You can put in a claim by virtue of the fact that money was received. The reality is if a contribution was made and an agreement was signed, you can go to the estate for that in this particular case or any other case.
Really, there
Right,
should,
and right now the dispute would be between the money that CMHC is providing.
the housing staff here have to see receipts and an inspection report before any money's paid out. Is that correct, Tom?
Yep. So the last inspection.
So really,
report
no
on that
money
file
should be
showed
paid out
51%.
against RAP unless they have an inspector's report and an invoice from the contractor.
The last inspection report on file shows 51%. The expenditures are right around the 51%. We'd
So
like to
the
keep it
only way
within
that
10%.
money could go astray is if the contractor gave a fraudulent invoice.
That was the whole reason we implemented the promissory note.
Yeah.
But the promissory note is only strengthening your argument to say that he owes us the money. That doesn't protect the project from either not getting done wrong, or going sideways as you've put.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about protecting the investment We have no recourse when you say,
Right
here's
now, the
100,000.
investment is from CMHC. Our part of the investment was signed through a renovation mortgage loan. So we have protection on our side. It's the money that CMHC is fronting. So right now we're arguing, CMHC is
A
probably
lot
going
of-
to be going back after this date and they're saying that they don't want to come good for it. What we're saying is that we're the ones that had to float that money. So whatever you have to do, make us whole and then you can fight about it.
Some of the problem that we've had with
But
RAP
the money that
before
we've invested in
is that
was signed through a mortgage.
that when the inspection is done, they list all the deficiencies that where the house is not in compliance with the National Building Code. There's a deficiency list, and it's those items that RAP is funding to correct. Sometimes when the contractor gets there, the homeowner will say, well, I don't really want that done, and I don't want that done, do this instead. And when they do something instead that's not on the RAP sheet, then that creates an issue for reconciling the inspection, and that all the work that was done that CMHC funded was done. So the homeowner can't change and make their mind to do something different that wasn't already. It's whatever RAP approved. That's the work that has to get done and paid for. And there have been cases where the homeowner's directed the homeowner not to do certain things and do something different instead, and that creates an issue.
But regardless, anyways, the upcoming RAP process that we're working on will include the promissory note.
So if they stick to the RAP sheet and what they agree to and they apply for it, then if they let the contractor do the work that's identified in the on the RAP sheet with that CMHC's funded, then usually it works out quite well. It's when they make last minute changes, and then that creates a lot of issues in reconciling that the work was done.
And so part of the new process is going to include us having a much more involvement in the process, to the point that we may even be looking at doing the work for it. One, it keeps the cost down and maximize the dollars, but also then we have control. If at the end of the day that I have to be responsible for the client's contractor, then I might better hire the contractor so that we know that they have insurance, they have licensing, they have WSIB, it's getting inspected, everything's.
We did it that way with the improved housing programs in the 1990s, and it worked out well. Because then you can control, then you can ensure the work gets done in accordance with the work that's been approved by CMHC, and that the work is done in a timely manner, and invoices are there, and it helps the accounting of it to the CMHC get those. Then you don't have a lot of outstanding files that you have to chase.
And now that we have a larger crew, we can start looking at that with Rick in place now with his expertise in inspections and as a carpenter and actually on hand, we can actually look at starting to take on more of these type of initiatives.
And the other thing, Tom, you can do, you can make the money go further too, because if there's people are new employees, you can get targeted wage training on the job subsidies from ALPC, and so that can stretch the dollars further. That's what we did with improved housing, and we made the money go further, and the work got done.
I think you still, if a person would like to do it themselves or have their own contracts, they still need to be able to make that choice.
Which is
It's nice to have both, right?
Which is the process that we took for this repair program, so they do have that opportunity to.
Yeah.
Well, the other
And
thing,
if they
the other
can't,
thing
then
that
we
was
can-
happening was, well, there were some homeowners were in need of repairs. If it's not a big job, then they can't get contractors to bid on these small jobs. And so there were people, some of the RAP contractors, the contracts were more interested in building new houses and not these renovations.
Where
That's
we've got,
happening now.
yeah, and
That's happening.
where we've gotten in, I guess, had the most problems with some of the RAP files has been on the larger $60,000, $80,000, the $110 renovations, the larger one, right? It's much more difficult for the client to manage, but also with the fact that RAP is only giving you 60, but the inspector's coming through and listing everything that needs to be done. So a lot of times that's over that 60,000. So now you're trying to get a contractor that's trying to squeeze the dollar, and then it usually doesn't work at the end. And now you're looking for extras, or it's not getting done as quick.
And you're talking about the RAP program, but we're talking about just the emergency home repair policy right now, right?
Right.
So you just want to apply that policy that you just developed to this portion of the monies? Now, my question is, you said something about 3 years. Is that CMHC? That's the requirement that we have to utilize that money?
That
In a
the
3 year.
420,000 from them has to be utilized in 3 years.
Okay, so you're gonna use all that first before you dip in? Oh,
Once all that money, so the budget for this program will be
Yep.
set at, so it's their 420,000, our 630,000. Once that's exhausted, the original plan for 100,000 every year will be.
Okay.
And
Hopefully this opportunity with the $1 million will get rid of the backlog and that 100,000 will be enough to cover the need.
Good.
We may have to assess that 2 years in, like if the need's still at 300,000, we may have to look at maybe increasing that through the cash flow. Maybe the need's only 50,000, we can look at reducing it.
Okay.
But this
Tom,
could-
the other thing you can do is you can use it for band houses too, because RAP, the band can apply for RAP.
Yep,
for
RAP
band
could-
houses.
This isn't wrapped though,
it's-
Chief. That's
we-
what I'm
we-
trying to clarify. So the maximum amount a person can utilize here is 20,000, right?
Correct.
See?
Yeah.
Where RAP is like
60,000.
120,000. Well,
Well, if you do
Potentially
double,
120.
potentially it could be.
that's why I gotta be really clear when we roll this out. that
But
people are-
sometimes, Ted, the
know
repairs
that.
are more than 120,000.
That's what I'm trying to say, Chief. This is totally separate from RAP. This is just
100%.
emergency home repairs. Like you got a furnace that needs replaced or a roof that needs to be done. You don't have to worry about those RAP
Correct.
portions because they want everything fixed at once with
But
RAP.
let's say.
But here we can just get that furnace done, right?
Right.
Or
Absolutely.
get that
the
roof
roof
done,
done.
or those windows done. So
Absolutely.
there's a big difference between
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
programs.
And also, if that client did have a wrap for 60,000, but the renovation was 75, we can look to use the
Good,
15 from
cool.
here
great.
because likely they may not have the eligibility to go through the
And
renovation.
that's your stack and your time
Exactly.
earlier.
Yeah.
So no, that's good. No, I think it's great.
Stackable approach.
Okay. So that answers your questions then, Chris? Okay? The motion is carried, so we're on number 7. Is council then, you've had a discussion about this new CMHC renovation funding. It's 400,000.
420, I believe, from CMHC and 630 from us.
And when they say from us, it's the money that's already been identified.
The money.
Not from our investments, it's from another.
Yeah.
That other account there, I forget
Yep.
what it's called. I seen it on here.
CWJ.
Does council approve? There is a need there. Who'll move? Chris?
Yes.
Who'll second it?
Yeah, I'll second.
Stacia? Anyone opposed?
Nope.
Anyone opposed?
It's great.
Anyone opposed? Motion's carried.
Clear.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you, Tom. The AIAI MOU memorandum of agreement. It should be MOA. Dated April the 1st. These are for the CMHC programs, $91,791 for healthy babies, healthy children. Community wellness program worker, $81,306. Mental health demonstration project, $24,759. Shelter program, $476,151. The HISAB community support, $2,000. Transitional support and housing support one-time funding, $87,500. Mental health and training supports one-time funding, $9,643. Does council make a motion to sign this memorandum of agreement with AIAI? Who will move?
Almost.
Ted, is there a seconder? Josh?
And I'll declare my conflict.
Chris, you agreeable?
Yes.
The motion is carried. Tab 9 is the audit presentation. A motion to sign the, no, for the audit presentation. This is the public meeting. There's some dates that have been suggested, May the 9th, 10th, 11th, 23rd, and 24th in the evening. Cecil would be available.
Just need to look at my calendar.
I say the 9th, 10th, and 11th is too soon, no? We should have some time to, you
Yeah,
know,
that's next
well,
week.
yeah.
Yeah, that's too soon.
23rd or 24th would be, I would recommend.
Check your calendars for the 23rd and 24th to make sure there are no conflicts.
Apologies for pulling out my phone.
That's my calendar too.
Oh, I just.
Chief, what item are you on?
We are on the, there's a note on the bottom there. Add-on MOC,
Okay.
CMHC programs and the audit presentation. There's 3 items at the bottom of the page.
Yeah, the 23rd, 24th.
Yeah, they both work
Yeah.
for me.
Do you not have the same agenda as we do?
Yeah, I'm not wondering why you would jump down there, that's all.
It was because they were last minute add-ons.
Yeah.
They didn't get scheduled, so they,
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, 23rd or 24th.
so the 23rd will work. Actually, it won't work for me because I have to go to Toronto. The 24th is the regular,
So that evening then, 24th,
the evening of the 24th will work.
7 o'clock. Sounds good. 6? Yeah. So could I also suggest that if we do have the meeting, maybe we could have it hybrid? You know, maybe we could have it here. If people want to come here, that's great. If they want to join by Teams or Zoom, they'd have that option.
Yeah,
That work?
I think we can, yeah, look into
I think most everything now is kind of that.
into the option. Yeah. Mhm. I think we have the technology to be
Yeah.
able to do it now. So
6 o'clock on the 24th work for you?
It were, I'd say 7. Most people are eating dinner at that time, so
Do you prefer 7, you said?
yeah,
7 works for me too.
7 o'clock.
It's fine.
So May 24th, 7 p.m.
Yep.
This is presentation of our audit to the community.
And
Hybrid.
I think
Yes.
that'd be all right, don't you? We had it here before, we've had it at the community center, but I don't know. Maybe a hybrid would be.
Okay, is there a motion to approve that date then? We'll move.
I'll move.
Stacia, who will second it?
I'll second.
Ted? May the 24th, 7 o'clock audit meeting. Motion is carried.
So if we get that advertised ASAP, that would be great.
The RCMP Reconciliation Initiative. There's the RCMP, this is supposed to be Indigenous led to promote, to heal the relationship between the organization and Indigenous communities across Canada. The One Spirit Unity Run, it looks like it's being organized, or there's Native leadership involved in organizing this. It's an Indigenous peoples run across Canada to focus on rebuilding and repairing relationships with First Nations, Inuit, Métis communities. And the RCMP, by creating a safe space for all Canadians to join together and take literal steps toward together in unity. And they're seeking permission from the Indigenous peoples to hold these runs on their unceded traditional lands and territories. They will work in collaboration with First Nations, Métis and Inuit organizations and communities through all stages of the event. They'll work with Indigenous community members in planning, hosting, and follow-up on each walk run in their respective locations. And the run is slated to be October 22nd, 23rd in 12 unique cities across Canada. All proceeds stemming from One Spirit Unity Run will be donated to Indigenous charities. So does council support this run?
Sure.
I did send Jason Brandt, the police chief, an email to see if he had any concerns. He's not responded back yet.
I thought this came from there. I thought they were.
It's from Marcel asking us,
from
but
Marcel.
they don't give us their opinion. I thought maybe the police chief should say, did they have any concerns?
Well, it's not overly specific, and I'm not sure if the run is taking place in our community.
We don't know the route yet.
is-
so-
But I mean, in
but-
terms of principle and
But our traditional territory is what they're asking.
I just don't see a specific ask. It looks as though this is for information for now. And I think maybe until we're asked, but I support in principle the concept, of the run. I hope you
Yeah.
all get out and run. Maybe we can all run together.
Yeah, Marcel has sent an email to basically ask his council in support of this event.
I can't speak on behalf of the other, 12 communities or cities, unique cities, wherever they are. But again, in principle, of course, I support most organized running events. in particular. This sounds quite interesting and positive, so.
Well, apparently whatever money they raise is going to be donated to local charities, indigenous charities, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's what it says. So, I support the initiative.
So well, Chris, would your motion be approved in principle then?
Sure.
Can I approve maybe, I don't know, if we're
Support.
going for, but I think we can support. To say the objective of the walk/run is to focus on rebuilding and repairing relationships with First Nations communities in our city. So the acknowledgement that there's a broken relationship, I think speaks to a lot of people. But it's, if you want to.
Okay, it's moved by Chris to support in principle to support the RCMP. As it focuses on repairing a relationship that's broken and that donations are being made to the Native charities. Is that your motion, Chris?
Sure, Chief.
Okay, is there a seconder for that motion?
I could second support for the one spirit unity.
Okay. Anyone opposed? Motion is carried. Upcoming meetings, May the 17th is we've already went through this in the opening, so just note that, noted. We've dealt with that, and is there a motion to go in camera? Are there any other add-ons for the public meeting?
Chief, I thought the last council, we agreed that the items had to be indicated why they're private, like 13, 12. Why would they be private? 13 talks about community lands, 12 is a
It's
community
because nothing is
adventure,
decided yet, it's still under discussion.
but shouldn't the discussion be
Because
public?
they came to a local business meeting to make their case, and normally when they come to local business, their issue's private unless they give us permission to make it public.
Okay, but what about 12?
12, that should be public, but it's unless there's,
No, I think 12, there was some proprietary, perhaps, information that
Mhm.
was,
that the
Concerned
company may not
about.
want, may not want to be made public, and of course, we discussed it at a public meeting, we're making their information public. So that
Or
information
competitive
may
nature
have been
of
shared
the
with
business.
David or Frank on a confidential basis. And so if it was, then we have to respect that. Because it still is under discussion, and if, we know where they're going to locate their stores or whatever, they may not want it made public through the Mohawk Council here. That would be their issue to make public.
So
Okay.
I'm happy to go into, to move, go in camera.
Okay, motion by Josh, is there a seconder?
Also,
Okay, Ted, anyone opposed? Motion's carried. Let's have to